Welcome back, everyone. I'm Bob Laliberte from theCUBE Research, and I'm joined again by Zeus Kerravala from ZK Research. In this next segment, we're zooming out to look at the bigger picture, and that is how Fabrix.ai is working with strategic partners like Cisco, Cisco Outshift, Splunk, AWS, and IBM to expand reach, strengthen integration, and accelerate outcomes for customers worldwide.
Now, no single company can operationalize AI alone. It takes a collaborative ecosystem, leveraging networking, observability, cloud, and AI governance, which are all connected through a unified platform, or in your case, the operational intelligence fabrics. So joining us to unpack how Fabrix.ai is making that happen is, welcome back, Chief AI and Marketing Officer, Shailesh Manjrekar, welcome to have you here and looking forward to the session.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Zeus. Excited to be on this session, yeah.
Absolutely. So, Shailesh, Fabrix.ai has built strong momentum this year. How important has the partner ecosystem been to your overall strategy?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question, Bob, right? And in fact, the partner strategy or the OEM strategy or the strategic alliances are smack in the middle of our go-to-market strategy, right? We lead with innovation when working with these partners, but the partners bring in the reach across the globe, across geographies, and so on and so forth, right? And we continue to be part of their different shows. We are part of their conventions, and that kind of provides us the visibility which is needed to extend our platform and innovation.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you're working for each of these partners in a different way. And so, Shailesh, can you walk us through that and how you're working with them? And let's start with Cisco.
We have been working with OEMs and strategic partner vendors, right? And our startups have actually morphed into business units, which are serving tens and thousands of customers, and we are creating value for our shareholders, right? So that has been our history. We have had exits before with large MNCs like Cisco and IBM. In particular, how we are working with Cisco is we are a long-term Cisco partner. As I said, our leadership is extremely close to the Cisco leadership, but we've also been working with App Dynamics and Thousand Eyes and so on and so forth. And most recently, with the push with Agentic, we are very much collaborating and complementing the Cisco vision around Cisco Data Fabric and Cisco AI Canvas and so on.
And how about Outshift?
Yeah, so Outshift, again, we have been very early partner for Outshift's Agency Collaborative, which is an open source project which talks about open standards and so on and so forth. And now that agency has been contributed to Linux Foundation, we continue to work with Linux Foundation. But that's where most of the multi-agentic work we are doing kind of helps us in terms of protocols like A2A and ACP and OASF and so on and so forth.
Yeah, Bob.
So I was just going to ask about Splunk
as
well.
Yeah, so again, a very close partner. We are part of the Splunk Partners Program, and we are a build partner. We continue to complement Splunk ITSI as well as Splunk Core, and we have several product swim lanes and work streams going on with the Splunk BU and Splunk PM teams.
And how about AWS? How are you?
Yeah, so that's again AWS. We've been very early partner with AWS. We are in the AWS marketplace. We have a SaaS formation of our platform as well, where customers can use it in a SaaS mode. More importantly, we are working with the AWS MSP team, which actually uses our platform to reach to some of the MSPs who are now trying to provide agentic services on top of their platforms.
Right, and then lastly, you've got the IBM partnership as well.
Yeah, so the IBM partnership is also very crucial, right? So again, a lot of these OEMs, they have their own, obviously, product portfolios, but there are gaps, as you pointed out, Zeus, right? There is no one single kind of OEM or company which can kind of cater to all the agentic requirements, right? So that's where we fill in the gap. So we work with IBM consulting team primarily, right, to fill in gaps in terms of agents and AI and agentic platforms and use cases.
Yeah, so it seems like Shailesh's ecosystem acts as both a technical multiplier, but also a market accelerator. So from your side, how does the marketing and solution alignment with these partners amplify the brand, but also customer impact?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, they are by far, the solution amplifiers and the go-to-market amplifiers for us. So as I outlined, we are pretty much doing all Cisco events. We've been there at Cisco Live, we've been there at Conf, we've been there for GITEX, right? So very much embedded in the Cisco ecosystem. We work with their marketing teams, right? Same thing with IBM Consulting and particularly Splunk and AWS.
That sounds great, Shailesh. Let's connect some of these partnerships back to the business outcomes that you're seeing. What kind of measurable impact are customers seeing when Fabrix.ai is working with these partners?
Yeah, so there are at least 2 or 3 different dimensions, right, where the large OEMs help us. So first and foremost, they bring us credibility, right? So when it comes to talking to large customers. Second of all, as I said, agentic is all about being embedded into existing processes and workflows, right? That's where there is already an installed base with customers like Cisco and Splunk and IBM, which is where we are able to plug in our agentic capabilities, right? So that's kind of, makes it easy for the operational personas to adopt us, right? And lastly, right, the go-to-market programs, right, we become part of them where we are able to kind of extend our reach, which we couldn't have been able to do on our own.
Yeah, and I think this really underscores that ecosystems don't just integrate technology, but they actually integrate value chains, right? And so when you think about the global landscape you play in, how are these partnerships helping enterprise modernize faster?
Yeah, no, I think collectively we are able to kind of, I think collectively we are able to kind of tackle the business problems of these large organizations, right? Because, many of them obviously have different elements of the infrastructure stack, right? So somewhere there is network, somewhere there is virtualization, somewhere there is compute, somewhere there is storage, right? And we kind of bring it all together. Just to give an example, in Cisco's case, we talked about this earlier, the Cisco Secure AI Factory, right, is kind of an, think of it as an go-to-market platform for us, right? So we sit on top of that, we bring in data into the secure factory. Same thing we do with the AWS stack as well.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. And Shailesh, how do you see Fabrix.ai continuing to nurture this ecosystem? What's coming up next?
Yeah, no, so again, we continue to work with, their vision and our vision are kind of very much aligned, and we continue to work with the product teams and go-to-market teams, and kind of enable to solve those customer use cases.
Yeah, and that's great to hear. Really, this is all about momentum, right? Once you get it going, it'll keep going. So you're building a community around Agentic AI and not just a product.
Yeah, absolutely, right? I mean, this goes back to what you said earlier, Bob, right? So there are no fast followers in AI. These things are changing so fast, right? So you got to be able to work collectively, and you got to have an ecosystem.
Yeah, that sounds great. So enough of us talking amongst ourselves. Let's now go and listen to what the partners have to say. Hey everyone, welcome back to our first partner session. We're so happy to be joined by Papi Menon, the CPO for Cisco Outshift, and I'm also here with Zeus and Shailesh. Welcome everyone.
Thank you for having me, Bob, and very nice to see you again, Zeus and Shailesh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, thank you, Papi. Thanks for taking the time. As you folks know, this is a partner section, and we work very closely with Cisco and particularly the Outshift arm, which is the incubation arm of Cisco. So Papi and I, we started kind of our journey together with the Agency Collective, which they launched last year. So Fabrix.ai has been an early member of Agency, which apparently now they have contributed to Linux as an open source project, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But Papi, thank you so much again. And we were together at the Agency Summit, which you hosted about 3 weeks back in San Francisco. It was a fabulous summit, right? You guys covered all angles, right? But particularly from an agentic perspective, I would like to ask you, what were some of the key learnings from the conversations you had with the VC panel? There were customers, there were partners, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, thank you, Shailesh. Yeah, the Agency Summit, as you saw, was a very energizing event for us. when we first started on this journey with the Internet of Agents, with our vision for the Internet of Agents and starting on the agency collective with tech-forward startups like yourselves, it was just a vision, right? Like we were talking about a future for agents to collaborate and communicate in an open, interoperable fashion. And we were working with like-minded technology partners to build out some of the components of that vision. Now, what we are seeing with the agency summit is that vision is very much here. We saw both from members of the VC community as well as partners and customers how they truly are either putting multi-agent systems into production, scaling them up, running into real issues when they try to do so. And there was some real talk at the summit about issues that people are encountering when they take this vision of a multi-agentic future and try to translate that into reality in their respective domains. And we also heard from venture capital how they're thinking about investing in these areas and some of the opportunities they're seeing and so on. So I think it's an idea whose time has come. Now, the vision that we espoused, a year and a half ago when we started on this journey is very much a reality now. Now it's about finding people who are truly using these multi-agentic systems, building the capabilities that matter to their customers, and then scaling them up in the enterprise. So those are the types of real-world conversations that we are starting to have now, and it was great to have those at the agency summit as well.
Great.
Yeah, Papi, so can you go into some details on agency's vision around multi-agentic workflows and Internet of Agents? And I'm particularly curious as to what made you contribute it to the Linux Foundation.
Yeah, so thank you. That's a great question. So when we started agency, right from the get-go, it's been a collective effort. So we realized that anytime we talk about the Internet of Agents, right, if you're talking about open interoperable standards for agentic collaboration and communication, that's something that needs to be done as a collective because everyone has to adopt it. It has to be a neutral standard. And so right from the get-go, the agency has been an open source project. It has been, Apache version 2 licensing, so it was very open licensing. And so everything that we were doing with our partners was out in the open. It was in the open source world. However, as we went down this path further and we started getting more and more, even bigger partners to join, so we have Oracle and Google and IBM Red Hat and Dell, who are key partners, we started to feel that there needs to be a proper open governance body that is in charge of this. And we had already been having conversations with the Linux Foundation. We saw that as a natural home for this kind of effort because, the Google A2A effort is also there. We've been supporters of that as well. So we started to see a convergence of different technologies that are forming key components of this whole Internet of Agents vision. And so it became a natural home for us to donate the project to the Linux Foundation. We still continue to be a key member of it. We are still driving all of the key pillars that form part of the agentic lifecycle, but now it's under a neutral governance body. So that was the reason why that happened.
So AI is obviously all-encompassing right now. Everyone's talking about it. There's lots of news. The headlines are always filled with it. And within that overarching AI space, agentic has been the latest and greatest that organizations are trying to figure out. You're on the front lines of this agentic AI shift. What are you seeing as some of the top opportunities and also the top challenges facing organizations as they go to adopt agentic AI?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So it's all about deploying at scale within the enterprise, right? A lot of the announcements that we are hearing around AI, around the AI space, even for agentic, is in the consumer space, right? And that's well and good. I think we need to push the boundaries. We need to push the art of what's possible in all directions. But there's a very big difference between being able to do something in a consumer-grade manner and being able to deploy it within an enterprise where you're talking about customer data, where you're talking about very deterministic outcomes, where you're talking about real business risk, you're talking about compliance and regulatory regimes, all of that. So there's a different level of trust and compliance and security and everything that goes into making something enterprise level, battle hardened and capable. And that's what we're talking about here. So you can have agents that you wire together with bespoke code in, for a small use case. But as soon as you want to deploy it at scale within your enterprise, dealing with your customers' data, you want something that is very robust, that is battle tested, that relies on proven technologies, and you can't build a castle if you don't have a solid foundation. And that's what we are building. We are building a robust foundation for the entire life cycle of a multi-agentic system, right? So that's all the way from discovering what agents are out there. Well, first of all, describing your agent in a neutral standard manner, being able to discover what agents are out there that your enterprise developers can use to create multi-agentic systems, being able to compose those agents together and have them talk to each other across different frameworks, across different platforms. And then finally, being able to observe what they do. So making sure that your multi-agentic systems are doing what they're supposed to do, not doing something they're not supposed to do. So all of these things are necessary to make your multi-agent systems operate at enterprise scale and with enterprise-grade reliability and security. So that's what we're building.
Yeah, Papi, at AWS reInvent last year, I met with the GM of Outshift, Vijay Pandey, and his session was packed, actually. He talked a lot about the agentic strategy for Outshift being wrapped into this concept of the Internet of Agents. And so I'm curious, since then, what progress have you made, and then also how has the strategy changed?
The strategy at the high level has not changed. So right from the get-go, we have been, as Vijay spoke, Vijay has been preaching the gospel of Internet of Agents for a while now. And so in that sense, at that very high level, when we talk about open interoperable standards that agents use for communication and collaboration, that has not changed. What has changed is we've made a ton of progress. We have a number of big and small partners, like the big five that I mentioned, the likes of Google and Dell and IBM, and smaller partners like Fabrix, who are very tech forward, who are more innovators in their space and so on. At this point, for example, for the agency collective, we have 80 plus partners, So across all of these different pillars, discovery, composition, interoperability, observability, all of the different pillars of a multi-agentic systems lifecycle. So we have a number of different partners in each of those buckets that are helping us refine and craft the foundational elements of this multi-agentic system. So that's one big, I wouldn't say change, it's been progress along that vision, making that vision a reality, and we've made great strides in that. Also, we've been working internally with various Cisco businesses as well. So that's been Cisco obviously has a very big footprint across a number of these different things that enterprise infrastructure relies on. So whether you talk about connectivity, you talk about security, you talk about observability, collaboration, all of these are key components, key pillars of what a multi-agentic system needs to be able to do. And they're big parts of the Cisco estate. So we've been working internally with the Cisco business units as well to figure out what those intersection points are and how these components that we're building for the community, for the open source world, can also help inform how the Cisco business evolves and operates in this new world of the Internet of Agents as well. So I would say, not a big drastic change. The vision is progressively getting refined and made a reality as we've been working with partners, both outside the company and inside.
Yeah, well, that's great, Papi. And I think you touched upon one of the major things is the operational world is very different than other use cases, right? The operational world in which you and us and Cisco, we all live together is very different, right? And, as you know, you've seen the demo of our platform. It's really purpose-built, right? But also, there are other elements around, the broader multi-agentic workflows, which is where we are aspiring to collaborate with you. So can you kind of talk a little bit about, hey, what's the value you see with a player like Fabrix, right, when it comes to the operational world, and you see our kind of roadmap as we go forward?
Yeah, so with partners like Fabrix and in general with the kinds of partners we've been fostering and growing within the agency collective, the common thread here is that they are building for the future and they want to build it in a way that is future-proofed. So when you build these new platform capabilities for multi-agentic systems for the enterprise, you need to do so in a way that sets you up for the future. You do not want to be painted into a corner, right? As an enterprise CIO who's looking to make the next bet on this agentic infrastructure, when you think about what are the kinds of infrastructure capabilities that I need within my enterprise, there are certain things you need to think about, right? Like you need to build something that is vendor neutral. You need to build something that is platform agnostic. You need to do something that operates with a wide variety of tools. Because the name of the game here at this stage of the agentic enterprise adoption cycle is optionality, right? You want to have optionality for your business for the kinds of technologies that you adopt. And there are certain technologies that allow you to keep that optionality because they're built from the ground up in an open, interoperable manner. So regardless of which model you may be using or which service you may be using for running your agents, whether they are running in multiple platforms, regardless of which framework you're using to build your agents, you want to have foundational technologies for doing things like discovery and communication and observability in a way that supports all of these different types of tools and techniques that your teams may be using. So that's what we are trying to build. We are trying to build, just like with the original internet, right? Like the original internet, there were a variety of companies, including Cisco, that built very robust products, but the underlying sets of technology, whether it's the networking technology, TCP over IP, DNS, etc., these were open, interoperable technologies on which all these other products were built. We envision a similar world where you have agents being able to exchange semantic context, agents being able to communicate securely in groups in service of a common objective. All of these things being done on the foundation of open interoperable technologies that unlock maximal innovation and value for the ecosystem.
Yeah,
so
no.
That's what we really look for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point, right? So the open standards matter a lot when you are building this enterprise-grade agentic platform, and clearly open standards like OTel, open telemetry, or open standards like MCP, or what agency is putting out in terms of the directory services and SLIM, and those are going to matter a lot, and we are working collaboratively on that with Papi. Papi, thank you so much. Back to you, Bob.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Papi. That was a great session. We look forward to more partner discussions. Stay tuned from Bob, Zeus, and Shailesh.
Thank you.
Hello, Andy. Welcome to the virtual summit co-hosted with SiliconANGLE and ZK Research and obviously Fabrix.ai. Thanks for taking the time. Looking forward to conversating with you. We've been knowing each other for a long time. I'll let you introduce yourself and we'll start the conversation.
First of all, hi to everybody and to your viewers. Yeah, as you said, we have known each other for quite a while now. I'm currently the field CTO for Cisco Splunk. And in this role, I'm predominantly responsible for helping the CXO level to set the vision, strategy, and proper execution for the AI velocity, particularly at enterprise scale, right? And I used to be an industry analyst. I used to deal with you guys a lot at that time, used to cover the AI, ML, IT ops, AI ops, and observability areas for a while. Good to be on, man. Thanks for having me on.
Great, that's great. Thank you so much. And first of all, congratulations on joining Splunk. So as you said, we have known each other for a long time, you as an industry analyst and now as a Splunk partner, right? And clearly, we've been doing a lot of events together, right? We were together at Conf, right? You've been talking to a lot of CXOs. You've been on the road a lot. You recently attended the Forrester event as well, analyst event. How do you see agentic actually, unfolding, particularly in North America, but also across the globe?
What, other than everyone using it? So, I mean, the thing that surprised me is that how popular agents have become, right? I mean, if you look at their adoption, it's much faster than generative AI or some of the machine learning technologies. The adoption curve I use a slide in my presentations. If you look at it, it used to be in a gradual curve. Now with agentic AI, it's almost gone vertical. I mean, if you think about it, the whole agentic concept is what, maybe a year old, if that, maybe slightly longer, but almost everybody is trying to push it into production. So I mean, there are various reasons why it's happening. We can get into the discussion if you like, but it's, in my mind, it's because it was somewhat smaller to build agents in itself. I'm not talking about a big LLMs. It's smaller to build in a smaller models, and you're not training the whole big model, boil the ocean. And then the components to build agents are already there. I mean, the data platforms are exposed as a MCP, as you know, the interconnections are by some of the agentic protocols, and the security is already set up in the background. And the models that it uses could be specialized models or LLMs that are already built. So the components are already there, and then you plug in that components and create those agents to make a auto decisioning in the workflow, to create a decision intelligence. So it kind of moved the needle in a faster direction in my mind. That's why it's pretty popular.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, right? So the kind of uptake has been like almost an hockey stick growth, right? But as you know, there are, as much as there is the promise of LLMs, there is the challenges associated with it, right? So what are the opportunities and challenges you are seeing when you talk to the CXOs, right? And what is that they are kind of more apprehensive about?
Yeah, so it's not an easy, straightforward, one size fits all answer in my mind, because it technically depends on the industry, right? It's some industries that are very risk averse industry, like for example, let's say healthcare. The adoption is going to be slower. One is because healthcare has always been resistant to some of these changes for a while. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's how it has been, and some of the components in there won't help agentic adoption fairly quickly, right? But there are some industries, like if you look at that high tech or IT or finance or many other industries, they are fully in on the agentic AI universe, right? Especially IT operations. The reason is because it's not because I'm in the area, but the volume and velocity of the IT operations data, it's come to a level that more than a human can handle, and you know that for a fact, especially with the AI scale as we talk about. I mean, we used to talk about a cloud scale, which itself was much bigger than enterprise scale. Now when you talk about an AI scale, the applications that people are building to consume, we're not talking about hundreds or thousands of transactions, we're talking about millions of transactions. So it's, to handle that volume at enterprise grade and scale, and keep the digital resiliency, there are some industries doing a good job. I mean, the, to answer your question in a simple way, like, IT operations, as I said, like AI ops and observability areas, support, for example, customer service use cases in retail and wholesale areas. Those areas, because they could definitely use this, they were dying to use agents, and they are using it pretty heavily. In some areas, experimenting, some areas adopted, some areas testing the waters.
Yeah, no, I think you make a great point, right? And frankly, one of the purpose for this virtual summit is kind of highlight that hey, IT operations is really a low-hanging fruit when it comes to agentic, right? I
Right.
mean, there's obviously complexity involved, but also it has less risk, right? So you're de-risking your implementation. So that's a great point. So with that, clearly Cisco has been on the forefront of agentic, right, along with Splunk as the greatest data platform. What do you see as a Cisco Splunk strategy, right, across your portfolio, and how do you see this unfolding? Obviously Cisco released the Cisco AI Readiness Index, right? What are some of the major takeaways you can share with the audience here?
Okay, how long you got?
Well,
Well,
not too long, but try and yeah.
so we're doing quite a few things, right?
Yeah.
So you might have seen at you were at Conf, so you saw that on stage we made some announcements. In my view, there are a few fundamental changes we're doing. One, we're building agents and AI assistants for people to use it. This is for the, how should I put that, agent wise, not very advanced companies, that they want us to build stuff and give it to them, and then they can start using that. So we are doing that. So in that sense, if you were to look at it, if you look at some of our AI assistants, like, we have built the triaging agent for security purposes, root cause analysis agent, threat hunting agent, and all of this agents that can help with identify security incidents or observability incidents or any of those things, it'll help augment humans by adding digital assistants to them, so it improves that. That's one area we are helping them by building everything and giving it to them so they could use. The other area we are doing that is that we are helping improve that a little bit by giving them an option to augment to help them build some of those systems by themselves by providing some of the toolkits. For example, one of the toolkit we give is called the AI toolkit. Matter of fact, I'm publishing an article in a couple of days, matter of fact, on what this is all about. Particularly, we are trying to help build some of the Agentic AI and generative AI capabilities into the platform and allow people to use that for things like summarization. For example, when you have a cryptic log, you could make sense out of that what that is, unless you have an expert who trained in that or able to write SPL. But we could use LLM, whether it's hosted by Splunk or one of the approved third-party LLMs. We could go to the LLM and get what the meaning out log is and stuff like that. But these are all smaller things. The bigger picture, if you were to look at it, we are trying to change the game by doing certain things. At the end of the day, if you were to look at it, Splunk is known for holding this, what we call it as a machine data, right? The IT operational data.
Right.
And so far, if you were to look at it, most of the companies were going after building the LLMs based on a human generated data. Nobody that much concentrated in creating a machine generated data, or as our president Jeetu puts it, machine GPT. Now we're building an architecture which is actually called the Cisco Data Fabric, which essentially will allow you to catalog them into a machine data lake, which is the Splunk platform, or machine data lake as we call it. But you don't have to store all the data in there. So that's a logistical representation of the data. You could store any place you want. Could be Amazon S3 bucket, could be Snowflake, which you announced partnership on stage. Yeah. There are a few areas you could store the data where it's convenient, process at the edge, send it over there, but you could use it to build your own models if you want. You could build your own agents. So we have MCP servers that we have exposed. So there are, like I said, I was not joking really when I said how long. I mean, I could go on and on day, but I'll stop.
Yeah, no, I think that's great insight, right? So clearly the Cisco Data Fabric announcement has been very kind of transformational. So that's great. Cisco, I mean, obviously, Andy, Cisco just concluded the partner summit, right, this week in San Diego, and clearly one of the major kind of highlights from teams keynote was really almost 90% of Cisco's revenue comes from partner, right? So clearly Cisco is a partner-led community. How much value do you put with companies like Fabrix, who obviously is a long-term Cisco partner, but also Splunk ISV partner now as part of the partnerverse? How do you see the relationship with ISV partners and the value we bring to the table?
Right. So actually, that's an interesting question because, as with any other software company, we used to do go-to-market sales motion in a certain way. But one of the refreshing changes coming to Cisco is about the partner ecosystem. As you mentioned that majority of Cisco revenues is driven by the partner ecosystem, right? So not only it's easier for a go-to-market strategy with our partners, but they bring us into some of the major accounts, some major accounts where we, as Splunk, we may or may not have a C-level connections, right? So when they bring in, it's easier to build the vision when you have when you're brought in by endorsed by a trusted partner in the account that already bring you in, right? It makes the process easy for all of us. So that's one portion of the pie in where they will bring us from a strategic viewpoint saying that this is the one we need to look at. We could help solve the problem. The other is the technology partners like yourself, that you guys are building some of the components that can help enhance, particularly in the AI area, which we'll talk about in a minute, I hope. Certain things you're building in, which plugs in easily with what we are doing, and it does a lot of value out to the customer. So simply put, yeah, we love our customers, we love our partners.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, and kind of a follow up to that, right? So you recently leverage, the Fabrix.ai and Splunk integration, right, to showcase to a lot of the CXOs, right? What can you share about that experience, and how was the kind of the market reaction to that, right, as to how we are complementing Splunk and Cisco?
Yeah, so you are actually somewhat unique compared to some of the other partners I've worked with. Because you are actually, if I'm not mistaken, you're a Cisco partner, you're an AbbVie partner, you are a Splunk partner as well.
Correct.
So it's somewhat unique, right?
Yep.
So, and you're also, I know that for a fact you're working with our global teams across many accounts.
Yep.
And I've seen that you've built some of the integration options that we didn't have in certain areas to enhance our value, particularly for the IT operations, as we were talking about earlier. And AI ops, and as well as some of the observability areas as well, by enhancing some of the data that you're bringing in, right? So this actually adds a tremendous value to our customers, kind of like a 1+1 = 3 situation, right? And I know that you guys were also at
So actually,
Live.
Jitu calls it 1 + 1 = 11, but go ahead.
There you go. There you go. Well, actually, that's the AI math, right? One plus
Yeah,
one is 11 when it comes to LLM. So yes, I get that. But yeah, no, I mean, you guys were at Cisco Live. I saw you at Conf. You had a booth there, and you were talking, and you were at GITEX.
Yep, GITEX, yeah.
Yeah, you're coming to a lot of our events, and you have a John solution promoting it. We appreciate that.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Andy. I mean, this has been a very insightful conversation, and it's been super exciting because you have seen really the journey from observability to AI ops to agentic AI ops, right? So again, thanks for your time. Any passing thoughts you would want to share with the audience before we close this?
Yeah, no, I thanks for having me, and particularly that demo you built for me using that agentic AI SRE, the digital coworker concept, was actually very useful in visualizing some of the concepts to the CXO level. Because when I talk to them about the digital coworker, they don't get what it is. But not only that, the demo you built for me that you have used for other customers as well, it helps identifying the incident based on anomaly or deviation and stuff, but it kind of assembles the melt telemetry, bringing them all into the one place, open a war room, invite the appropriate people. It's a very powerful demo. And what I love more about that is that you use Splunk as a data platform, use the MCP servers to pull the data into, and then have the agents on the top. So it kind of gives a holistic view to the customer. So I quite often use that when I demo the concept to the customer. So like I said, again, thank you for being our valuable partner, and more importantly, thanks for having me talk on your webinar, man. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andy. I appreciate your time and the partnership. Hello, Mohannad. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate you, being willing to participate in this Agentic Unleashed conference, which we are holding along with SiliconANGLE and ZK Research. So again,
Thanks.
we've been a long-term Cisco partner, and we've been working closely with you. So I wanted to understand your thought process around agentic. So before I do that, let me first of all give you a chance to introduce yourself. First of all, congratulations on your expanded role. So if you can kind of talk to your role and and so on. Go ahead.
Cool. Thank you, Shailesh. It's great to connect with you. So for the people who don't know me, I'm Mohannad Abuissa. I'm the Managing Director of Solution Engineering and CTO for Cisco across the Middle East, Africa, Turkey, Romania, and CIS. So I lead a cross-regional organization that bridges technology strategy with execution. So we help our customers and partners drive impact and scale innovation responsibly. So at heart, I believe in technology, that it's not just about capability. It's about enabling resilience, trust, and opportunity. And that's exactly what drives our work across the region.
That's absolutely great. Thanks for that, Mohannad. So yeah, we recently concluded GITEX, and it was an honor and privilege to be part of the Cisco ecosystem. We were actually in the Cisco booth. What were the major kind of undertakings, or key kind of takeaways for you at GITEX? I know there's a lot happening in a region. There is Project Target, there is Human, and so on and so forth. Can you give us a glimpse of how that region is evolving when it comes to agentic?
Of course, happy to share that. So GITEX this year, Shailesh, it really exceptional for us. It's captured how far the region has come in translating AI ambition into action. So for Cisco, our messages was clear. So AI starts with a secure network. Across EMEA, we are building the critical infrastructure for the AI era. So we connect and protect everything that make AI possible. So as you know, we focus on three foundational pillars. The first one is the AI-ready data center, where we power distributed GPU workloads across anywhere. And the second one was enabling our customer with the future-proof workplaces, so which connect people and AI seamlessly. And the last one was the digital resilience, where we keep operations secure and always on. So the conversation this year was far deeper around sovereign AI, energy efficient infrastructure, and responsible scale out. So one of the key highlights, as you mentioned, was our partnership in Stargate UAE, where Cisco is a preferred technology partner. We provide advanced networking, security, and observability for OpenAI workloads. It really reinforces that the Middle East is moving fast, partnering smart and delivering AI at scale. So, and Cisco is at the right center of that transformation.
Yeah, no, that's great to know. And clearly, Cisco is kind of doubling down on this paradigm change, which is expected to be even larger than the cloud and SaaS revolutions what we had. So Cisco recently released the AI Readiness Index. Cisco recently announced at GTC in DC a lot of reference architectures for neo clouds with NVIDIA 6G stack for wireless and so on. What is the strategy you see when you see about Cisco's agentic AI play? A broader strategy and particularly in your region.
Of course. So let me talk about the opportunities and challenges first, and then I'll move you to the agentic AI.
Sure. Yeah.
So, in fact, the opportunities are immense. So, governments are embedding AI into national strategies, and this is the way we see it. And enterprises are moving from pilots to full-scale deployment. But there are still a lot of challenges, as you know, Shailesh. The main one in our region and across EMEA, it's data sovereignty. Then the computer availability with the GPU, and the supply chain for those GPUs, and AI governance framework. So it remains a top priority for decision makers in the region. So Cisco role in build the AI ready foundation is an infrastructure that is secure, sovereign, and scalable. So customers can innovate with confidence. As you mentioned, our AI Readiness Index for 2025 showed that 16% of organizations in the Middle East are fully prepared for AI, and 92% plan to deploy AI agents within a year. So that shows both readiness and urgency. So the intent is there. And now it's about building the trusted platform that make all of this real. So moving to your question about the agentic AI and what's our strategy in the region and how we can all help our customer achieve the objective of this agentic region, agentic AI era. So as you can see, all our presentations and our showcase to our customer start with the notion of that we are entering the second era of AI. So the agentic era, where we move beyond individual productivity into more workflow automations and autonomous system. So Cisco strategy is to embed intelligence directly into the network, security and observability stack. So the infrastructure itself become an intelligent agent. So how we are doing this? We are doing this through the from security part with our Hyper Shield framework, which brings AI native self-defending security to every workload. And with the full stack observability, where now it's supercharged by the Splunk analytics and telemetry intelligence, which is, as you know, now it's part of Cisco. And for the AI ops, which is powered by data from across the stack, enabling predictive and self-optimizing infrastructure. And our announcement about the AI canvas was at the center of that. In essence, we are turning the digital backbone into self-healing, self-learning system, one that anticipates, adapts, and protects simultaneously and autonomously.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I can clearly see, it's been going across the portfolio stack, right? So that's great. So how much value do you guys, Cisco places? Obviously, Cisco is a partner-led company, right? And we've been a long-term Cisco partner. How much value do you actually place on the ecosystem? And companies like startups like Fabrix, right, being part of that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Of course. So to answer you in a short 2 words, enormous amount. As you know, Cisco is a partner company. So ecosystems are what turns innovations to impact. So AI is far too complex for any company to solve end to end. What makes Cisco unique is how we scale through collaboration with our partner and eco-partner community. So we combine our global technology platform with the local innovations and domain expertise that those eco-partners bring to us. So in our region, it means making hand in hand, working with hyperscaler, with developers, with startups, with integrators to deliver outcomes that are relevant and sustainable. So the way I see it, Shailesh, it's not just partnership, it's co-creation. That's how we accelerate real transformation.
Right. Yeah, no, that's fabulous, right? And obviously, Fabrix has been there. We've been attending GITEX now almost last 3-4 years. How do you see, Fabrix kind of complementing Cisco's strategy?
Of course. Fabrix plays a powerful role in our story, to be frank with you. So at GITEX 2025, you showcase your agentic real-time data fabric, which integrates natively with Cisco AI infrastructure and Splunk observability platform. So the technology that you show enrich and I can say contextualize telemetry. So bringing together data from multiple sources and turning it into intelligence, actionable insights, which is perfectly complement what Cisco shows and delivers end to end. So Cisco provide, as you know, the secure AI ready infrastructure and observability fabric. Splunk deliver the analytics and correlation layer, let's say, across the data. And the way I see Cloud Fabrics, it adds the agentic intelligence that turns those into insights and into autonomous remediation and optimization. So together, the whole stack enables customer to move from visibility to action. So from knowing what's happening to systems that automatically respond and improve. So which is the essence of the agentic AI era.
Great insights and so well said. Well, thank you so much, Mohannad, for that overview and insights. Any passing thoughts for what the attendees can walk away with from your conversation?
So what excites me most about this new phase in the AI in the AI era is that AI has become an ecosystem of intelligence, not just a technology stack. So in MEA and EMEA, we are witnessing nations and enterprises investment and reinvent themselves around digital trust, resilience, and scale. So our mission in Cisco is to connect and secure that transformation to make AI both powerful and responsible. So when you combine Cisco infrastructure, Splunk analytics, and Cloud Fabric and agentic intelligence, you get something truly transformative. So a living, we call it, learning enterprise that can think, act, and adapt at a machine speed. So
Thank you so much, Mohannad. That was an excellent conversation, and I look forward to seeing you at Cisco Live Melbourne and next year at GITEX at Expo City. Thank you so much.
Or Shailesh, happy always to connect with you.
Well, it's always great to hear from the partners themselves. And today we saw how the Fabrix AI ecosystem from Cisco and Cisco Outshift, Splunk, AWS and IBM is enabling enterprises to operationalize AI with trust, speed, and scale. And partnerships are the connective tissue to this transformation, and Fabrix AI is leading the way in uniting all of them.
Yeah, and for me, the big takeaway here is that the ecosystem is delivering more than integration. It's delivering confidence. And Bob, to your point is always, you always talk about the mean time to trust, right? And so I think this can really help accelerate, get there. And so I think together these companies are making Agentic AI real, measurable, and enterprise ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So big thank you to you, Shailesh, for joining us, and obviously the Fabrix AI partner community for being here as well. Coming up next, we're going to wrap up the day with our analyst recap and summary session, where Zeus and I will be joined by Shailesh again to distill the top insights and key takeaways from this incredible Fabrix AI event.